So welcome to Where Do I Start? Selecting a topic and beginning your research. We're going to introduce ourselves and then we are going to jump right in with our presentation today.
So again, welcome. My name is Elliot. I'm the assessment librarian here at Webster University Libraries.
And I'm Emily. I'm head of research services, and we are talking to you today from St. Louis, but know that we are here to help any and all Webster students, faculty, and staff, no matter where you are. All right, so here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the research process. We're going to kind of go through what that looks like as you are doing research and give you some tips and tricks at each stage of the process. And we're going to do an example search and some examples of expanding and narrowing topics, and then we'll have time at the end for questions.
So what is research? We like to think of research as a process rather than a task or a goal. And I say that because really there's different steps that you go through when you're going from an idea that you have for research and finally writing your research question and then turning that into a search of our library resources. So in that process, there are a couple of things that it's helpful to think about beforehand. It's just going to save you time later if you can sort of have a plan for how you're going to approach your research. So start by thinking about in your project, whether it's a paper or a presentation or something else, what are the big questions that you're trying to answer? And what types of searches are you going to do to answer those questions? And after you've thought about that, a good question to ask before you finish with your research and move on to creating your project is to ask, is there anything more that I need to know? Try and anticipate questions your reader might have if you're writing a paper, or questions that your audience might have. And if you don't know how to answer those, maybe there's one more piece of information that you need to go and find. And make sure that for every major point or argument that you want to make, that you have some sort of source to back it up. So research will take time. Research wasn't done in a day, but hopefully by going through the process and giving yourself time along the way, you'll discover things you didn't know before about your topic and have something more interesting to say as a result.
Yeah. So as you saw in the previous slide, our first recommendation is to start by asking questions. And so sometimes this is going to help to kind of narrow down your topic or expand your topic. And what that means is that we often start with a really big topic. So, you know, your professor assigns you a paper or a presentation or a case study or something, and the topic is something like human resources. That is huge. And so by asking yourself some questions, you can ultimately save time by making your topic a little bit more focused. So we're going to give you some examples of what that might look like.
So here are some questions that I brainstormed. I'm also the librarian who serves the School of Education here at Webster. So my big starting idea was I'm going to write a research paper about foreign language. Well, what am I going to say about foreign language? So I spent just a few minutes, and here are some questions I came up with. What are the benefits of studying a foreign language? What age is best? Does having language study affect different parts of your brain? What about non-human languages like programming languages? Do they affect your brain as well? Is the approach to teaching or learning a foreign language different in different countries? How do people learn different languages? Are there different methods? And so you can see by just thinking about a topic for a few minutes and asking these questions, some things start to jump out as different ways that I could approach this research or writing this paper. I could write about the benefits and drawbacks. I could write about how it's approached in different parts of the world and do a comparative study. And all of these ideas are valid, and they're more focused than just a big paper topic about foreign language. And that makes the research process easier when you have some more specific things to focus on.
So the next step that we're recommending here is to kind of look at the questions that you've brainstormed and draft your research question. Now, this is not always going to be a linear process like we've just showed you, and sometimes this process is going to involve consulting with group members if this is a group project, working with your professor if perhaps this is your capstone project, but thinking through your topic and then coming up with kind of your big question is a way that you can tackle this. So for Elliot's example here, our question is, should foreign language study be mandatory in United States public schools? So we've got a couple of the words highlighted here or bolded, and the reason for that is when we're searching in library resources, we really need to be mindful of kind of what are the big parts of our research question. You know, we all get so used to searching in Google where you can throw a question in there, no big deal, you get something. Our databases are not as smart. They pick up on exactly what you search for, so you do need to be a little more cognizant of what words you're using, and we can also start brainstorming some synonyms for those words so that we can have more keywords to use for searching.
This is something that I see a lot when I'm helping students with research questions, is that, as Emily said, it's not really a linear process, and the goal of research is not to find the one article that will answer your exact research question. Most likely the answer to your research question will be a combination of ideas that you pull from different sources and will really be your own take on a topic. So the goal of research isn't to find the right answer, it's to explore an area and come up with some thoughts of your own. So often we had said that this was a draft research question, and that's because through the process of research, that question's likely to change as you encounter new ideas or rethink your topic. So when you start research, if you're not finding sources that really fit your topic, be a little flexible with your research question. Let the research help guide what you need to find out. So as far as Emily said, when you're searching the research databases, the article databases, with your topic ideas in mind, the way that you might express something might not be the way that authors of articles have expressed it. And because the databases search for the exact words that you type in, if you were to type in foreign language, you might miss articles that are really about foreign language learning but are instead written about like secondary language or even about a specific language. And then my question involved United States public schools. Well, public schools, there's middle, high, elementary schools. Sometimes that's written as K through 12 or even elementary through 12th grade. So it's always good before you start just typing in search words to think about, well, if I don't find the result I'm looking for, what are some other ways I could express my topic?
So we're going to do a sample search now to kind of show you this process in action. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and bring up our library website. We have a brand new library website that we launched in January, so there is a chance that you have used the library and it's looked a little bit different. So this is our new library homepage, and one of the exciting things about our new one is that you can start searching for articles right on the main page. That is not something you used to be able to do, so we are pretty excited about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of drive the computer here, and I'm going to let Elliot talk us through our research question, how we're going to start, what we're going to search for, and what we're going to see.
Okay, well, the search bar here, just to let you know what you're looking at, will do a quick search of some of our most popular databases, and these each is for a different discipline, so we'll be pulling from our main databases in business, communications, psychology, medicine. So it's possible if you search this way you'll find some results that don't seem to fit your topic, but we can show you how to find more specific resources later. For this topic, let's just try foreign language education. And always something I forget, you do have to log in whether you're on campus or off with your last name and your 7-digit Webster University ID. So for foreign language education, we have something like 25,000 different article results, which is clearly more than any of us have time to really sort through. And so this is why I recommend starting with some of the big ideas of your topic and starting broad. There are a few ways that you could bring this number down to a more manageable subset of articles for you to look at. One way is to use the search bars at the top to break your topic into different pieces, really. So let's put foreign language on one line, education on another line. We want to add in, let's add in public schools.
So there's really no right or wrong when we're doing searches here. You know, you're not going to do one search and get everything you need. And sometimes it is going back and saying, well, okay, public schools, yeah, but I don't have the United States part, so maybe you change something. It is kind of experimenting to see which of those keywords that you thought about is going to work the best. And this is a case where a librarian can help you. So we're going to give you, at the end of the presentation today, a bunch of ways to contact a librarian, but you will see in the database right now, there is a chat box here over on the right-hand side of our screen. You can chat with a librarian right during this process while you're doing your research right here in the database. And if you're having trouble getting a good number of results, chatting with the librarian is a good way to come up with some keywords that might help you.
One other thing I want to mention about keywords, especially if you start with a search of really broad terms, just like when you shop online and Amazon and other websites help you filter through all of your products to find the shoe size you need and the color you want, our databases will let you filter through the results to find the types of articles you want. So maybe you want to change the date of publication to something very recent, but what I like to recommend, if you're just beginning to explore a topic and maybe you don't know which angle to take yet, different databases will call them different things, but something like subject thesaurus, subject heading, or just subject, these are keywords that describe what the articles in the results are about. So one way we got to fewer results was to put in more search terms up here. Another way to narrow down your results is to choose from these lists of some terms that match what you're looking for. And this is another way, if you can only think of one way to phrase your topic, this is a way to see what words that the authors are using or the professionals in the field are using to describe that topic. So foreign language education was probably a pretty good search. Public schools comes up. I hadn't even brainstormed bilingual education. Secondary ed, multilingualism. So you can choose a few of these and then update your search results. So your search doesn't change. You're just looking at a smaller amount of articles from that initial search that we did. And you can change what limiters or filters you've put on your search over here. That's probably my #1 tip when you're going from topic to a more focused research question when you're exploring your results. These limiters and refinements on the left-hand side can really help.
Great. Another thing that sometimes you're going to want to do is look at either a different database or maybe even fewer databases. So as Elliot mentioned, what we're doing now is we're searching some of our most popular databases. Up here at the top above the search box, you can choose the databases that you're looking at. And of course, some of these, it's pretty clear what they are, but if it's not, you can hover over that little thought bubble and it will tell you a little bit more about it. But depending on your topic, you might want to either take away some of these databases from your search or add some new ones. That's another thing you can ask a librarian for help with. And then when you run your search, if there's something that you're interested in, if it says full text, you can open that, read it, print it, save it. Another thing you can do is if you click on the title of the article, you're going to get a little bit more information about that article, including an abstract or a summary. And then over on the side there, you can email it to yourself. That's always something I recommend because then you'll have it in your email and you don't have to worry about trying to find it again. All right. So I'm going to go ahead then and head back to our PowerPoint. If anyone has any questions, again, you can put those in the chat box. We're going to be happy to answer those, whether it's about this process or anything else. So again, I want to make sure that you know how to get a hold of us. You saw just now that you can chat with a librarian. You can do that right inside the database, but when you're on the main library homepage and you click on Contact a Librarian, that is going to get you to this page. You can chat with us on this page. You can give us a call. You can send us an email. If you're in the St. Louis area, you can stop by. Our research librarians are available in person and by phone and email about 75 hours a week. And then, as I said, that chat is available 24/7. So I know that what we've talked about today is mostly just kind of helping you get started, helping you get an idea, but do know that librarians are here if you want us to help you with the brainstorming process. If you're trying to find articles and you've done everything that we said and you still can't really find anything, or if you're trying to find articles and you sort of think to yourself, what did they say again? That's why we're here. We're always happy to help. So thank you so much for joining us. And again, if you have any questions, please go ahead and put those in the chat box and we'll be happy to answer them.